Kris here, another quick tip for you all. In this video, we are going to continue our look at painting the eyeballs on a bloat drone and doing variations of the eyeball. And so in this video, we are going to do a nice creepy human-esque kind of eyeball in the bloat drone. And so for that, I got started. I base coated the eye socket, or the eyeball itself, in pallid witch flesh. I did it in about 2 or 3 thin little coats, just get it nice and smooth. We're going to come in with some Abaddon Black here, and we're going to start off on the iris of the eye. Now basically this is really kind of the hard part of doing this eyeball, is drawing a circle. And of course I'm using my fine detail brush here just to get the initial circle laid out. And once you have roughly your circle laid out, you can kind of come in with your color, thin out just a little bit more, just a hair, and just kind of build out the iris to the size that you want, to whatever feels the most logical. Now of course there's no eyelids on this eye, so this eyeball is going to have this kind of staring, creepy kind of gaze, as you can see kind of there, how it just really kind of just this eyeball just kind of staring at you. It would also have been kind of fun to do it looking off to one other side, or looking up, or doing something along those lines. To get us started next, we're going to use some Dryad Bark, and basically what we're going to do here is we're going to build up to a yellow eye. So we're going to basically do this in the same fashion we do for yellow gemstones. We're basically going to start off with darker brown colors and work our way up to yellows. So the Dryad Bark is being applied to the iris of the eye, and it's basically a big crescent shape. I'm just leaving just a little bit of the upper, kind of like an 11 o'clock position, if we're thinking like a clock face. The 11 o'clock position is where the black is remaining, and of course the rest of the iris, and of course a black outline around the iris as well. I'm taking some Abaddon Sunset, and I'm throwing just a little bit into the Dryad Bark, making a roughly 1-to-1 mix ratio. And of course I always say roughly because, again, taking little dollops of paint just randomly and willy-nilly, and is not particularly a scientific method for getting exact measurements, but as long as you're consistent, you'll get consistent results. And of course with that color, I'm going to concentrate closer to where I imagine the pupil of the eye will remain. And again, I'm going to work with a crescent shape. Now I'm not too worried about being smooth, because in fact an iris has a lot of texture to it, and so again, you can see here I'm just allowing it to play, and I'm also hitting some random spots with a bit of a brighter color. And then of course I will come in with the Abaddon Sunset. As you can see here, this is bare Abaddon Sunset now, and I'm laying more and more color, and of course I'm building it out towards basically like the 5 o'clock position on the eyeball. Again, if we're thinking of it like a clock face, so again we have the black at the 11 o'clock, and we're building the color down towards the 5 o'clock position, and that's where the color is going to get built up. And so after the Abaddon Sunset, we're going to come in with Uriel Yellow. And again, we're going to use a tiny little amount here. We're using our finest detail brush here. We've thinned the color out just with the dampness of the brush. And you can see here, I'm just laying just tiny little speckles. I'm allowing more of the color to build up at that 5 o'clock position, but I'm throwing a couple little speckles here and there, just kind of, the way light refracts through the pupil of the eye, or the iris of the eye. It, it throws colors. If you look at any pictures of eyeballs, and human eyes, I should say, you'll kind of get what I'm talking about here. But we're building the color closest to the center of the eye, where the pupil will go. Dorn Yellow is next, and again I'm just laying tiniest little amounts into that eye, really concentrating at that 5 o'clock position, but also throwing a couple dots either side of that as well. And basically, we're going to come back in here with the Abaddon Black, and we're going to build that pupil out, and we're going to make this nice and solid, because initially when you're looking at it, when you're just building the color out, it's kind of fuzzy looking. So now when we throw this pupil back into that space, it cleans it all up, gives it a nice hard edge, and so now we're starting to see an actual eye sitting there, and it already looks really creepy as is, but we are going to make it a little bit more creepy, because why not? It's Nurgle. So next we're going to use is some white scar. Now this is going to be obviously for the little spot highlights, but we're going to do 2 sets of highlights. We're going to put 2 little dots into the black area of the iris, but then we're also going to throw 1 tiny little dot in the 11 o'clock position, if we can manage it, in the pupil of the eye, because again the human eye has 2 little kind of domish shapes to them. There's actually, like, it's not a perfectly round shape, there's actually a little bump where your iris is and where your pupil go and everything like that. And so that's what I'm emulating here, and I just kind of corrected, and I wasn't happy with that initial placement of the dot, and so here I'm a little bit more happy with where it is now. It was more in the center the first time I attempted it, and so I cleaned it up and then redid it, and I was much more happy with how it went. And of course sometimes you have to do that with your painting. You have to correct really quickly. Wazdaka Red is next, and then we're using just the dampness of the brush initially here, and basically what we're going to do is we're just going to lay little dashes in just to represent the little veins, and we're not laying too many down. We're not going to concern ourselves too heavily with trying to make all the proper little kind of branchy, veiny textures. We're not going to kill ourselves with that again. And then of course I thin the color down with some water, make it into a glaze, and then I fill it in in the recess around the trim of the eyeball, and it also tints the edges of the pallid witch flesh as well, creating a slight pinking around it and giving us that distressed kind of eyeball, kind of, you know, wide open eye kind of look. And now it's starting to look really creepy. You can stop there, but I often like to go just a little bit further and add some ard coat. And this is going to give the eyeball a nice, wet, dewy kind of look. And basically what I do is I'll oftentimes will throw one glaze down, straight out of the bottle kind of thing, and I'll lay that down, and then I will thin the glaze out just a little bit with some water and lay another coat down and allow that to kind of self-level and give me my nice glassy kind of look. And obviously the more thinner coats you do of gloss varnish, you are going to end up with a nice smooth glassy finish. And as you can see there, it looks a little murky right now, but that's because it was thinned out. But once it's dry, as you can see here, look at that, it's all nice and glassy. It looks like a creepy little eyeball. It's kind of freaky, and it's a different color in yellow, but that's it. It's as easy as that. Do not be afraid to give it a try. Well, I hope you found that quick tip useful and informative. You can watch another quick tip today on MiniWarGaming.com's Vault. Just click on the link in the video description below to watch it right now. If you're not already a Vault member, you can sign up for a free 7-day trial. Be sure to sign up for the Silver membership, and that will give you instant access to over 1,000 painting tutorials already in our Vault. And again, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing, and happy wargaming.